President Trump is planning to hold a rally in Michigan next week to mark his first 100 days in office in his second term. According to the White House, on Tuesday, Trump will travel to Macomb County, north of Detroit, for the event. It will be the president's first visit to the battleground state since winning the November election. And speaking of his first 100 days, President Trump is making history, but it's maybe not the kind that he wants. Fox News anchor Bret Baier reported on the president's sinking approval rating yesterday.
If you look at our new Fox News poll at 100 days job approval compared to other presidents, there you see the president at 44%, and you see his first term at 45% at this mark, the 100-day mark.
Whoa, let's dig into those new numbers. That new Fox News poll finds Trump's overall approval rating underwater, with 44% approving and 55% disapproving. The president is also underwater on the issues that really were key to his campaign: immigration, foreign policy, the economy, tariffs, and inflation. He ran on most of those. Based on Trump's first 100 days, voters are also less optimistic about the future. 38% say they feel encouraged about the next 4 years, while 51% are discouraged. Mike Barnicle still with us, and join the conversation we have the host of Way Too Early, Ali Vitale, co-host of The Weekend Primetime, MSNBC contributor Elise Jordan, and deputy opinion editor at The New York Times, Patrick Healy. We'll get to what you're writing about in just a moment, but Willie, those numbers, as reported by a Fox News poll, pretty stark.
And the Fox News poll is actually more generous than some of the others that came out yesterday. Pew has the president at a 40% approval rating, also historically low at this point. And importantly, on the economy, Reuters has him at 37%. So it turns out, Elise, if you take an economy that was in most ways, not always, except for inflation, was humming along, and you aggressively tank it with tariffs and other actions, voters, including Republicans, don't like it very much.
Well, and an economy that in January and February, before all of the tariff nonsense came on the scene, was doing quite well and was enthusiastic about Trump's presidency and optimistic. And you see how quickly the sugar high of just the first 100 days is over now that voters are actually seeing what kind of results or lack thereof are coming into play.
Yeah, people really believed that the businessman president would figure out a way very quickly to drive the economy in a different direction. And he set that expectation on day one. This talk of the golden age of economy and inflation would go down. Even though we're very used to the rhetoric by now, he still set a bar for himself that he had no policy, to get over.
And Mike Barnicle, he's more, he's got more of a infrastructure, let's put it this way, in the White House to follow through on the promises that he made during the campaign. For example, the incredibly unpopular tariffs.
But wouldn't that lead to the ultimate question? He might have better infrastructure this time out. But the level of incompetence is still there. And the fact that it all revolves around him, what he thinks on a moment-to-moment basis. And you watch Republicans, you watch Democrats, the collective political group looking at all of the issues, I would submit most Republicans, most Democrats in the House and Senate pay more attention to policy on a daily basis than does the President of the United States, because the policy that he thinks about is him.
And it's stuck in the 1980s too, frankly. He's still talking about Japan and living in a world where he is fearful of the Japanese recession hitting America. I mean, these ideas are antiquated. There's a reason that we have moved beyond. There's a reason that all of the leading economists are saying you're leading us into not just a recession, a Great Depression. Yeah. It reminds me of the run-up to the Iraq War, frankly, when you have a lot of voices, a lot of military experts, a lot of national security experts saying it wasn't going to be as easy as was predicted by some of the rosier outlooks. And sometimes the experts can be be right.
Part of what's so strange about President Trump is that one thing that he did for a while have in common with Reagan and Clinton and Obama is that he seemed to have some feel and understanding for the electorate. And he was winning over working class voters, middle class voters. But
he
then
taps into issues that really work.
He does, but
base.
on then his economy policies that put the squeeze on those voters, he doesn't seem to understand the pain that Clinton did or the way that it hits in the pocketbook like Reagan did.
Well, and also if you look at some of these poll numbers, and I think they're poll numbers, that's all they are, but you just wonder if even what's happening with his immigration policy, if the bulk of Americans are really okay with what is happening with these forced removals, these people who don't get the process of deportation but are being whisked away, chained, and sent to the worst prison in El Salvador and sent to a different country, to a horrific place where they will either be tortured or starved or will die. Like I'm thinking that might be breaking through to the base a little bit, but the polls might be implying that a little bit. We shall see.
I might take the other side of that because the one area where his numbers seem to be holding a bit is on immigration. And look, we've had all these big moments in the first 100 days. I think one of the big moments for the rest of the year is what you're getting at, Mika. It's whether Americans ultimately revolt and speak out if they start seeing detention camps or mass deportations.
Right.
I find we might see, frankly, more tolerance for some of that than we expect. We did this focus group the other night, and immigration with Frank Luntz, immigration was the one issue that these Democrats turned Trump supporters in November are still with him with. They still want to see this kind of action.
It's the shiny object.
I want to know. I want to know why. Tell me more about that.
Still, the sense of the sort of the loss of control that they felt that Joe Biden, as a kind of an older president, didn't have his arms around the border, didn't take it seriously, and sort of still the belief that even if the businessman president isn't doing right on the economy, that the numbers are down on border crossings. Sort of the sense that someone is taking this seriously. And what the most surprising thing is that those images of students being snatched off sidewalks by masked agents, we sort of thought there might be some kind of more emotional kind of a response or issue there. But the sense was that President Trump is taking this sort of very seriously, and he's willing to pay some kind of a price. We also did this conversation with Democratic leaders who were involved in President Clinton's campaign back in '92, and they also identified immigration as the area that the Democratic Party, really needs to have a bigger fight over. That a lot of Democratic leaders still don't understand where a lot of Americans are on this, that they want to see something more dramatic.
Really interesting insights. Okay.